Hello everyone, Monique here from zombians.com and welcome back to part 2 of my tutorial slash walkthrough slash thingy on how I draw Charizard. So if you remember last time, we basically did the gesture of the sketch, very first thing we did, and then we did the preliminary rough sketch, and then on top of that we did the final rough sketch. So in this tutorial slash walkthrough slash thingy, we will be going through how I do line art. Now I'm not going to show you how I do the whole thing because that would take a while. I might cut this like I did when I was filling in the final rough sketch, but I will show you the important things, I hope, for the most part. First things first, before we do anything, where's my bloody pen gone? Ah, there it is. So prepared for tutorials, so very prepared. The first things first that I'd like to do is fix up some errors that I've made in the rough sketch before I actually start on the line art, because I have taken quite a break from this. As you can probably tell, it's been, I don't know, has it been 1 or 2 weeks since I last did a tutorial? When you leave a piece for a while, you tend to notice all the mistakes when you come back and you're like, oh god, it looks horrible. It always happens. Part of being an artist. Is quite sad. But I mean, for the most part, it's good that we're noticing the mistakes now before actually finishing the drawing, because that is the worst thing that could possibly happen. So, oh, I'm on the wrong layer. So what I'm going to do here, I've noticed that this is pointing the wrong way. It should be pointing that way, not this way. It looks very awkward and kind of bent and twisted there, so I'm actually going to fix that up. I'm probably using the wrong brush for this, but I don't think it really matters. Ugh. Okay. Maybe make that a little bit thicker. Not actually done any warm-up sketches today, which is what I usually do before I start working on pieces. So I'm going to be a bit kind of meh. Should be okay. What else was that? I think the rest is mostly alright. It was just that was really bothering me. I can't remember what else there was. Ah, yes, this claw. Just bring that forward a bit there because it looked a bit awkward. Okay, and that should be okay now. Alright, so I think we're ready to get started on the line art now. So I'm just going to hide these layers here. And first things first, before starting on the line art, I lock layer transparency on the rough sketch, and I changed the colour of the sketch from black to another colour. I'm probably going to pick red. Usually I pick red or blue, depending on how I'm feeling. You're probably better off picking blue because red sometimes blends in with black and it gets a bit weird. Yeah, so I'm going to lower the opacity as well on that sketch. Now start a new layer on top for the line art. You can even name it. The reason why I changed the colour of the rough sketch is so that I don't confuse my rough sketch with the line art, because when you really zoomed in it can be quite hard to tell the difference between the two. Let's see, I'm going to pick a nice inker here. Oh, the decision, there are so many brushes. Oh, I can't pick one. This is the one I'm using at the moment, Clean Comics, but I don't think I want to use that for this because this is quite a small drawing. What I might actually do, if you have a look at my canvas here, like, I was like, I'm going to draw on a big canvas and I'm going to fill the whole canvas. Nope. I just ended up drawing a tiny Charizard in the centre of the canvas instead. So what I'm actually going to do, it will lower the quality of my sketch, but I'm going to increase the size of my drawing. I might actually crop this down first so that I don't have horrendous memory leaks and crashes, even though I have 16 gigabytes, but I don't want to risk that. So crop that down, and I'm going to change the image size and let's make it about maybe 2,500 width, maybe a bit bigger than that, 3,000. This is the scale that I normally draw at, is around 2,000 to 3,000 pixel width, usually. Give that a while to run. There we go, you can see it's got a bit pixelated now, but that's okay because it's the rough sketch, and I don't care about the rough sketch because I was going to say no one's going to see it, but you're currently seeing it, but it's not going to be in the final piece, so the pixelation doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're going to get started on the line art now. Now this brush is much better because I'm drawing on a bigger scale. Some of these brushes don't scale down very well. They scale up very well, but they're not very good in small drawings. Another advantage of drawing big. So I'm going to get started now. Now the first thing I do when starting on the line art is I zoom in a lot, so that I can focus on the details. I usually start with the face. I don't tend to start with other body parts first. I don't really know why, I think that's just a habit of mine. But as you can see here, I'm trying to keep the lines thin at the start of the line, gradually increasing in thickness, and then thinning out again towards the end of the line. Pressure is something that requires practice, applying pressure to your stylus pen, but you will get it with time. It takes a while to learn. If you're struggling with that, or if you haven't got a graphics tablet and you're drawing from a mouse, God, I don't know how you do it, you're amazing if you're doing that. You can just switch to the eraser and just taper your lines like that. And it doesn't matter if it looks a bit blurry, anti-aliased, because I'm not going to submit the full image at this size. It's far too big for people to look at. I usually always scale it down slightly. Usually scale it down to around 900 pixel width to 1,000 pixel width, around there. And usually you can't see any errors, any tiny errors in the line art that you've made when you do that. So don't worry too much about that. So what I'm doing now is the mouth. I try and keep the lines relatively thin. What you want to look out for when you're drawing line art is you want the line art on the outside of the character, so everything down here and round here to be, oh sorry, not round there, like round here and stuff, to be thicker than the lines on the inside of the character. So for example, the neck here, I do not I mean, it would look ridiculous if I drew the neck with such a thick line like that. It would need thin lines just to define the detail, sort of hint at it here and there. And yeah, you don't need to go overboard basically with line thickness. There are some styles that work really well with really thick lines. I mean, it depends on how you work really, what you prefer. But this is just how I do things, to be honest. What am I doing now? Ah, yes, the eye. There we go. So if you find yourself struggling, I tend to draw with a big brush and can't be bothered making my brush smaller most of the time. But if you find yourself struggling and you can't get the lines thin enough, then yeah, just make your brush smaller and it's fine. It's fine, it's fine. Now with eyes, it's usually a bad thing to draw in the pupils when you're drawing line art, because when you're painting, it can be nice to give the pupil a hue, and very often, like depending on the animal, well, you'll know from like flash photography how you always end up getting red eye and it looks horrible and annoying. Well, it's the same thing. It should be the same thing in drawings. If you want to add a bit of realism to your image, is draw a little hint of red eye, or I don't know, like canine animals will their pupil will reflect. I can't speak today. The pupils of canines will reflect blue eyes, blue light rather, for example. So you want to keep an eye out for that. It depends on what you feel like doing. If you're doing cell shaded work, then yeah, sure, by all means, like fill in the pupils. But if you're planning on doing painterly, like I am in this piece at least, then don't bother, because it ends up looking kind of weird, because the blotch of black there will end up looking far darker than any of your shading will, and it will just stand out far too much. It'll draw the eye straight to it. It'll draw the eye straight to the eye, would you believe? There we go. So I'm just gently adding in detail here. If you noticed, I'm doing like this sort of stippling effect. This is where the lines are very, very thin, and sort of tapering off, and it can be quite a nice accent to the I don't know how to describe it. It can be quite a nice accent when you zoom out to how the line ends and defining details and stuff, as you can see with this eyelid here. Right. I'm going to continue drawing the face now. I might speak a little less because I'm getting nowhere while talking. There we go, just drawing in the thingamajig. I don't know the technical word for that. It's like a gap in the skull where the nasal passageway travels or something. There we go, drawing the nostril in. And drawing in the top jaw. Okay. Another thing to avoid, which I've actually been doing here. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible artist. Well, not. It doesn't make you a terrible artist if you do this, but it's recommended that you don't. But when drawing line art, it's best to draw full lines in one sweep, moving your arm as you go, like that. Don't scribble when you're drawing line art like this, because it ends up coming out far messier than it would do. This is how I get such neat lines, is I just draw in one sweep, moving my arm. If I'm drawing a big line like this that fills the entire screen, I move my arm along and I don't move my wrist. I keep my wrist straight. And this prevents my pen from skittering all over the place whilst I'm trying to draw the line, so I don't need to do the scribbling. It is a technique that many art tutors will try and stamp out of you if you go to art college or art classes. I've never been to art classes myself, I'm just speaking from friends' experiences and what they've shared with me, but that's essentially what they've told me, they've been told off about. And it is not the best technique for drawing things. With smaller details like this eye, like it's not too bad, like I can excuse myself for doing that. Because I'm adding really small details in. With the small details you will want to move your wrist. But because otherwise, well, there's no way you would be able to do such a fine motor skill task otherwise. So yeah, another thing is to zoom out quite often, 200% preferably, when you're doing the line art, just to check for any line wobbles. Like you can see, I think I was scribbling when I was drawing this mouth probably because I was talking, but you can see here clearly that the line is really jagged and yuck, so I'm going to have to redraw that. If I zoom back in, again, keep the line nice and straight, nice and smooth rather, not straight, I don't want a straight mouth, and draw with your arm if you're drawing a long line. So I'm going to do the same here, and if you mess up, don't worry, just undo it and try again. So I mean, you'll probably see a lot of me doing this, or all the time when drawing line art, I'm just like constantly drawing this again and again. No, I got the line wrong again, oh my god, not again. And yeah, There have been times when I've done that like 40 times in a row and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Why can't I draw? See, I'm doing it again here. Not deliberately, I swear. Right. Let's bring that round there. Maybe make that a bit thinner because it's looking a bit thick. Another thing to bear in mind when doing line art is that where... how do I describe this? That's the problem with art. I've never had to like actually discuss this with anyone before. I've always kept it to myself, kind of thing, so I've never really spoken about it, but trying to articulate things as best I can. When a thing meets another thing, when a line meets another line, and there's quite a overhang, so like you can see in the jaw there, obviously there's going to be quite some distance between this cheek and the jaw underneath it, so that's going to cast a shadow. When it's called a drop shadow. So when that happens, like with this horn here as well, you may want to draw the line art thicker from where the drop shadow is. Again, it depends on your art style, and it depends on whether you're doing cel shaded or painterly. It's generally recommended if you're doing painterly style not to overdo it too much, so like I don't want this to be too visible here, so I'm actually going to erase it. I was just doing that to kind of show you. But you can add a drop shadow, and this makes the line art really pop. Makes it completely pop out. Can be really good for adding an extra piece of depth to your drawing, as you can probably see now that I've zoomed out. Like, it looks like the cheek really is popping out there. Again, with the horn there, it's actually, yeah, coming out at the base and going that way rather than sticking to the head. So yeah, I'm going to add a bit more detail to this horn. There we go. I'm not sure I like that. Trying to work out how I want to add in this detail here. Maybe like that. It's nice and thin. How does that look? It's a good habit to constantly zoom out when adding fine details like this, because if you stay zoomed in all the time, you're going to end up noticing mistakes, like I keep saying, when you've finished, which is the worst. It is the worst, the worst, the worst. Could do with being a bit lower, that, because the ear is actually behind the horn. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Just going to close this gap here. I might actually make that a bit higher and erase it. There we go. Alright. Another thing with drop shadows is you always have to be aware of where you plan on putting your light source. So like the light source for this Charizard is coming in from here, this way. Big scary arrow. So all the drop shadows will be on the left hand side of the body. So this will be a drop shadow, that will be a drop shadow. This bit here will not be a drop shadow because this is where the light is coming from. It's hitting this part of the head. So you don't want to put a drop shadow there because it will look kind of weird. I'm going to finish drawing in this second horn. Here we go again. Oh my god, I can't get this line right. If you find yourself struggling with lines, you can always use the vector tool. There are tutorials online on how to use vector tools. In Photoshop, I am not all that familiar with them. I haven't used them for quite a number of years, so I can't actually remember. I may have to relearn that, and if you want to see how to use them, sure, go ahead and ask and I'll have a go at explaining them. But I'm far more familiar with vector tools in Paint Tool Sty. Should probably do a tutorial on that actually. The vector tools in Sci are amazingly easy to use. They're really user-friendly. The Adobe Photoshop ones are unfortunately less user-friendly, but I mean, you can do more with them. So I guess there's that. I'm going to cry. Please, please, Line. Why won't you cooperate? Alright, you know what? That horn can go away. I will do that horn later. I'm going to work on the chest now because I can't be bothered. It is alright. I mean, if you find yourself struggling with a part of the line art, sure, move on to something else. Don't frustrate yourself trying to do the same thing over and over again, because you'll just want to stop drawing and you'll never come back to it. You don't have to force yourself. No, I don't like that. Maybe like that. I'm not so sure about that either. Believe it or not, drawing line art is actually my favourite part of the piece. I know I may be complaining loads right now, but I do actually really enjoy drawing it. And surprisingly, I like it more than colouring. I do enjoy colouring, but I don't know, it just takes so long. Which can be a bit frustrating, really. I mean, you can speed paint things, but then it just ends up looking really messy and rushed. I guess it depends on how quick you are at drawing as well. Like, I'm a relatively, I don't know, I guess I'm a medium speed drawer. I'm not really slow, but I'm not exactly fast either. There we go. Drawing these in one stroke. Woo, look at me go. This is unusually going well. I say that, but then I'm going to zoom out and look at the horror that I've created. Okay, so I don't like how that line is looking. I'm mumbling. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for mumbling. Oh, that looks quite nice actually, if I say so myself. Awesome. So I might actually just check how the line art is going on its own now that I've drawn a considerable amount of it. So I hide the rough sketch layer from view just so I can check how the line art is going on its own. I've got a strange floating line up there, mysterious. I wonder what it could be. Okay, so that looks alright actually, so far. Back to drawing in the line art and adding detail. So you can either choose to just draw in the main details first and then add all the finer details, like, I don't know, the ear and the squishy thing. The technical name is a squishy thing. Or you can just do everything as you go along. As you've probably already guessed, I do the latter. I fill in the details as I go, because I have a horrible memory and I know I'll end up accidentally skipping something and then never coming back to it. Yes, yes, I did it, and I did it by scribbling. Terrible. It's not that you can't make smooth line art with that scribbling technique, it's just I guess it depends on the kind of brush you're using as well. Like, I'm using, this brush is really how do you say it? It's really not anti-aliased. Like, there's not much anti-aliasing on it. It's very blocky. I don't know how else to describe it. Forgive me for not using technical language. If you're using a slightly less opaque brush, it would be more, the scribbling would be way more noticeable. so I can sort of get away with it here, depending on what kind of brush I'm using. Okay, as you can see on the claw here, I'm adding in the finer details first and then drawing around them. This is just to prevent any headaches with erasing. I always struggle with hands and claws, I'm not sure why. It's something like I'm constantly practicing with as well, but I just can't get it down pat. I always have to redraw hands and claws like a million times before they look vaguely okay. I guess that's something I've just got to keep practicing at, unfortunately. Not much I can do but practice. That finger looks a bit thick. Claw rather. Claw finger. Right, let's see how that... Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's see how that looks, shall we? Bloody awful. Ugh, right, I'll come back to you. I might do this one instead. It's a bit easier because it's a side-on view of the claw. So as you can see here, I'm using that kind of like scribbling technique because I'm drawing in the smaller details. I'm not using big movements across the screen or anything. I might actually make the brush smaller here, so it's 15 pixels originally, going down to 8. Ah, that's much better, okay. To add the details in. And you can be a bit more heavy-handed. There we go. And I guess that's the third claw right there. This line is a bit too thick. There we go. Taper that line a bit. And now I'm going to go back to 15 pixels again because I'm no longer on fine details. I'm drawing in the arm. There we go, add a bit of a drop shadow there. Lovely. Right, let's zoom out and see how that looks. I think that looks alright. Maybe a bit blurry there because of the eraser. Alright, that should be better. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave that how it is. What should I start on next? I may start on the wings. I'm a terribly lazy artist and I always leave wings till last when drawing dragons because they're the biggest pain in the arse. They just take so much effort to draw and they're so annoying to draw. Especially wing fingers, oh my god, wing fingers. They are the bane of everything. I'm not really sure how I want to draw this bit, so I'm going to zoom out a bit so I can see a bigger part of the wing. That looks alright. Maybe like that. Yup. Okay. Again, using big movements here because I'm drawing long parts of the body. Oh my god. If you find yourself struggling when drawing long lines like that, you can rotate the canvas because sometimes it's easier drawing one way than another, like lines, diagonal lines and horizontal lines, easy peasy. Vertical lines, not so much. So I am actually going to press R here, and this will bring up the rotation angle thing, and I can move the canvas about a bit. So I'm going to move it this way. There we go. and switch back to my brush, and hopefully now I should be able to draw this line a bit better. Or not. Oh my god, this sucks. There we go. No, that's too curved. What am I doing with my life? I feel like I'm not too happy with how that goes on the rough sketch either. I might... I'm going to reset the angle there, and I'm going to draw in this arm again because I'm not too happy with the way the muscle comes out there. It looks a bit strange to me. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm not a fan of how it looks. And then that's the wing there and the muscle behind it. Okay, that looks much better actually. Much better. I prefer that. Yeah, and maybe bring this down here instead. So I'm going to lower the opacity on that, and I'm going to change that to a blue, I think, so that I can tell the difference between the rough sketch and my Lineart and my corrected wing. Okay, that is much better. Draw that in there, maybe a bit too much zoomed in. Just a tad. Bing! I don't know why it keeps doing that. That's very annoying. Stop binging at me. Very rude. Ow, rude. Can be a bit freer with this line because it's skin membrane. There we go. Adding a bit of detail to the folds. I don't want to overdo it though. For the most part, I try and show the folds of the skin membrane through shading. You don't want to overexpress it too much by line art because it just looks odd. And I might not close this up here because I want it to look like the skin is coming out of the arm. Okay, so let's try and do this without failing miserably. Oh, look at that, in one go. Wow. This curve might be a bit too deep though, so I'm gonna change that up a bit. Alright, let's see how that looks at 100%. I don't like it. I don't know, it just looks odd with this. Like that. Maybe I'll bring it from where the bend is coming from. There. It's very trial and error this, in case you can't tell. Every single drawing is a learning experience. You never stop learning with art. Right, I think that might be a bit better. I'm going to close up this line as well, or attempt to. Ooh, wow, I was not expecting to manage that, and I think this elbow is maybe jutting out a bit too much, so I'm going to bring that in a little bit. There we go. I'm going to draw in the bone kind of there at the joint. Let's zoom out again and have a look, shall we? Right, that is much better. And what I might do when colouring is make these wings slightly transparent so that you can see the rest of the arm behind this wing here. I'm going to add like a kind of shadow thing because it can look a bit strange like this really if I don't do that. Alright, I think we are good to carry on. So I may actually end up recording the entire line art at this rate. This is going to be a very long video. I'm sorry if I'm boring you. There we go. Okay, now for my favourite part. Not. So what I do when drawing wing digits is I draw in the knuckles first, and then I join up the knuckles to the other end of the other knuckle, the next knuckle, like that. And then I'm going to join them up, because otherwise my lines end up going all over the place if I don't have anywhere to aim with. Oh, so close. Ooh, that's very close actually. I might leave that in there and just erase. Maybe bring this out a bit like that, and erase the inside. Cheaty cheaty. Well, it's not really cheaty, is it? There we go. And then do the inside one. If I'm drawing in Sci, I usually always tend to cheat and use vectors for drawing wing digits, because they always end up coming out looking slightly wobbly, which is very frustrating. But that's just me being lazy. I mean, it's a good idea to practice all that you can and don't skip important steps and stuff. Perfect, there we go. Okay, let's have a look at how those look. Those look okay, I think. I'm going to zoom out all the way if it's green. Yeah, looks okay. Bit thick for wing fingers, but I guess they'll do. Or wing digits, whatever you want to call them. I'm probably pissing off a million biologists right now. I doubt a million biologists will be watching this, but oh well. There we go. So I'm going to draw in these ones now. I'm probably a bit too much zoomed in. Getting tunnel vision slightly. Oh god, where do I go? Oh, the lines! So many lines! I can see the pixels. And I'll actually draw in these as well while I'm at it. So obviously with these wing fingers, this is the fingerprinty side of the wing digit, and then the nails are coming out from behind. So you do have to be quite careful when drawing wing digits that you aren't drawing from the wrong side and you're actually drawing inside out hands. Inside out hands? Inside out digits, because that would be quite painful. Pity the dragon that has inside out hands. There we go. And then I'll do this one. This one is slightly twisted this way, so obviously the nail is almost on the left hand side there, but not quite. It's still behind. If you get what I'm saying. Meh, not too happy with that. I may have to go to a smaller brush again. Or just zoom in. Zooming in is probably the better option, the smart option. There we go. And then this one. Drawing them slightly curved because they're going inwards towards the body. So they curve towards the body. I'm liking how this is turning out. It's very rare that I say that. Usually it's, oh god, why am I drawing this? This is awful. I'm far too zoomed in. Again with those vertical lines, hate them. I somehow pulled that off. I don't know how. speaking of Pokemon, if anyone is up for a Pokemon battle, I am still taking Pokemon Showdown challenges. We are running a league challenge over at zombieins.com, where you can challenge 8 gym leaders, including me. I am the Dragon Gym, and my flagship Pokemon is obviously Mega Charizard X. Love that thing. It has won me so many battles. So feel free to throw a challenge my way. You can get shiny badges, shiny awards for them, which look very awesome. I'm pimping out my own art because I made them, but no, I had a lot of fun making those badges. And I love Pokemon battling, so please do challenge me. Feeling a bit lonely on the challenges at the moment. And of course you get street cred as well for beating me and the other gym leaders. You can show off your badges and how awesome you are. I can't draw the line. I'm going to have to rotate the canvas again. There we go. No shame, no shame. I've actually also started doing... Sorry if I'm boring you with Pokemon talk, but I'm a bit obsessed with Pokemon at the moment. I realised that I clocked up almost 500 hours of playtime on Pokemon X. I only just noticed that last night and I was like, how the hell did I manage that? But it's with all the... I've been trying to breed, like, perfect IV shiny Pokemon. And oh my god, yesterday I hatched a shiny Marill with huge power and 5 IVs. I was so happy. My god, that thing. I love Pika-Blue. I was so happy. So I'm going to be using that in battles now. I've actually started doing Battle Spot, and it's going terribly, like really badly. I keep losing, and it always seems to be to Japanese people. Like, they always completely thrash me. I guess there are just more Japanese people on Battle Spot in general. But yeah, oh god. They're so good at battling, it's so tough. I think my ranking has like dropped from the base, which is like 1,500 down to like 1,400. Because I can't win. But the times that I have won, it's always been Charizard X that has carried me through. Like I've had like 3-0 sweeps with Charizard X. Just straight up, it's an amazing Pokemon. I think it's better than Charizard Y, to be honest with you. Especially if it's Jolly Nature. It's so fast. If you get even one Dragon Dance off, those Dragon Claws, the Flare Blitzes are pretty much destroying everything in their path. Obviously, the unfortunate hard counter to Charizard X is Azumarill. Because obviously it resists... I don't know... Does it resist? Yeah, it does resist Flare Blitz. I keep thinking that Fairy's weak to fire for some reason, but no, it's fire that's resistant to Fairy. Not the other way around. So, yeah, there is that. But you can also put moves like Earthquake on it, but I tend to reserve my 4th move slot for Roost, because that Flare Blitz recoil damage is god-awful. Hurts, it does. I just realised I'm rambling about Pokemon, I'm sorry. I will stop. I'm nearly done on the wing digits now, thank god. Oh wait, no I'm not. I've still got this one to go. No! But after that I will be filling in all the lovely wing membranes, which I tend to do last on dragons. Partly because they're the easiest things to do, but also partly because they require all the other parts of the wing to be there for me to accurately draw them in, if you know what I mean. Oh, come on, let's do this line in. Nope. Line in one go. Nope. Okay. Okay, you're gonna be like this, are you, hand? Damn you, hand! Oh, that was so close. Let's draw the inside one first, see if that's any better. No, it's not. Okay, that one will do. We'll go with that. I don't really like how this digit is though. I'm going to redraw that. There we go. Okay, now then. Please Hand please. Hand no. Hand why. Maybe if I draw a bit slower. No, that came out really wobbly. Oh, there we go. Now, as you can probably tell, and this is the reason why I hate drawing wings, is there's varying thickness between the inside line and the outside one. So I'm actually going to erase this one and draw it in again, because that is really bugging me. Much better, much better. Okay. There we go. Alright. This video file is going to be huge when I finish recording. But it's okay, I have enough space, I think. There we go. Right, let's see how that looks, shall we? Put it to the test. Oh, we're still rotated. There we go. Oh, no, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like that either. Oh no! This is going terribly wrong. Oh dear. Right. They are a pain in the butt. I know I've said this like a million times in this video now. Sketches, easy peasy. Lineart, not so much. You know what, that'll do, and if it looks weird, I don't care. That's probably a really bad attitude to have. I think that looks okay, this one doesn't though. So I'm going to add a bit of drop shadow there and remove that tapering to the line there. Let's have a look at that, shall we? That looks okay. I think that looks okay for the most part. Right, I don't really need this layer anymore, so I'm actually going to hide that now. And I'm going to draw in the wing membranes now. So, ooh, wrong layer. So now that I've actually finished drawing in the wing digits, it's actually easy peasy. Well, I say easy peasy, but it's nice and simple to draw in the membrane and add a bit of detail to it while we're at it. There we go. Trying not to be too overboard with the amount of detail. I'm just drawing in where the main, most obvious folds are in the wings. So obviously where the knuckles are and where all the joints are. And where the wing membrane meets the skin as well. Like that. Also like to add details on the edges of the wing membrane here, because I like to think the skin is a bit thicker on the outer edges than it is around the knuckles and arm and stuff. In my made-up head anatomy of how dragons work, because dragons totally exist. But yeah, there's no correct, true way to draw a dragon, really. It is a fantasy creature after all, but I like to stick to most plausible anatomy based on, what we know about other animals with similar anatomical features, like lizards and bats and odd lizard-bat hybrids. Alright, let's do this first then. Fine, be that way. Awesome, okay. Then this is the arm. So I'm going to try and follow the outer line a little bit. Oh, I did end up scribbling there. You can see the line is a bit, yuck. Is that a bit better? Oh, didn't mean to do that. There we go. No, that's not better at all. What am I talking about? It's really obvious. The line art doesn't have to look perfect. Like I said, it'll be scaled down at the end. Obviously after we finish colouring. The reason why you draw on such a big canvas is because you want to pack in as much detail as you can on the canvas, and then when it scales down, well, it's easier to add more detail on a bigger canvas than it is on a smaller one. And as long as you're not scaling it down to the point of like infinitesimally small. Like if I was scaling this down to like 100 pixels, it would lose most of the detail on it, but I'm scaling it down to around 900 to 1000. So as long as the scale is relatively close to the original, like around, I don't know, 50 to 65% of the original size, it will preserve most of that detail, and it will also hide most of the little bits of mess that you've not cleaned up for the most part. It'll make them less noticeable at the very least. Make your lines look nice and clean, even if they aren't. Which is quite a nice little trick to have, really. It's probably the reason why most artists draw on a larger scale. It's because they don't have to worry about getting the line art and the shading, pixel perfect. There we go. Okay. I'm going to bring that down there. Then add a bit of detail here. And there we go. I feel like this one is longer than that one. And it probably is. So I'm going to actually make this a bit shorter, because I'm not happy with the length there. There we go. Just cleaning up the line art a bit, because it looked a bit messy there. And it still looks a bit messy. That'll do. Okay. Right, I might actually do the rest off camera. I'm just going to draw in the tail tip and the flame first, just to show you how to draw things like that. When you're drawing things like flames that are obviously quite transparent, you can just skip the line art altogether and do it in at the end, which, well, actually I think that would look a bit better with what we're going for here, but you can draw it in. If you are drawing in flames with line art, then I recommend using quite a thin brush in comparison to what you're using to draw the rest of the body, because obviously it's, transparent. So you don't want it to be too overbearing compared to the rest of the body, because it'll stand out too much when you colour it in. And, obviously fire's very bright, so that will create a really, really stark contrast between the line art and the fire. There is a fly in front of my screen. Get lost! Shoo! Shoo! Shoo fly! Yeah. Most annoying thing that could possibly happen is having a fly land on your screen whilst you're drawing. Well, it's not quite as annoying as having a fly land on your sketchbook and then you accidentally squish it and smear it all over the drawing that you have been doing for 2 hours. Yes, that has happened to me before. I cried a river. Well, I didn't actually cry, but kind of made a primal scream of rage at that fly. Damn that fly. I hate that fly. To this day. Okay, well guys, this video has dragged on for long enough. I am going to return to you when I've done this line art, so hang in there, I'll be back in a second. See you in a min. Welcome back everyone! Well, that took a lot quicker than I was really expecting. I've pretty much finished up the line art now, just adding in the last few details. That tail was a pain in the butt to draw, and I've just noticed I haven't quite curved round enough there. There we go. For the most part, I'm pretty much done. I've blocked in all the important forms of the body there, and I've also added in finer details, as you can see here. To sort of hint at the yellow belly of the Charizard. You have to be careful not to add too much detail though. You should leave most of the detail down to what you put in your colouring. I guess the take-home message from this is don't overcomplicate your line art, don't overdo it as well. So, I mean, for example, if you're trying to draw hair, don't try and draw every single strand of hair in the line art, because it wouldn't look good. It would just be too overbearing and be really distracting. So keep things simple. You want the viewer to be drawn to your shading and colouring for the most part, not the line art. But the line art is there to act as a way to sort of, I don't know, accentuate your colouring in a way. So actually I'm going to add a bit more here. There we go. And there as well. Okay, and I might actually add a bit of a drop shadow here. Just a very, very small hint of one. Like that. Okay, so I'm pretty much done here. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you haven't checked out the first part of this tutorial, please do. It shows you how to basically do a gesture sketch and how I do my rough sketches and how I plan a piece for the most part. Next up will be the colouring. Not really sure on the format on how I'm going to do that exactly. I might split it into lots of different parts, or I might do what I did here and sort of do colour in one section, 1 or 2 sections, and then cut to the end and then talk through what I've done. If that sounds good to you, I might do that. So yeah, please do check out zombieins.com. We have lots of pretty cool art tutorials going on there. We also have a graphics mentor program at the moment going on, so please do check that out. If you've never, learnt graphics before, like I'm a bit of a graphics noob, no idea how to make signatures and cool things like that, and how to use renders and make things look awesome and sparkly, and yes, please do check that out, because it is really, really helpful. It's a great platform to even if you are already good at graphics, it's a great platform to better your skills, and you have constant feedback from the art and graphics team over there, helping you with tutorials and giving you tips along the way. So again, thank you very much for watching. I've popped a referral link in the description below, so please do join Zombieins if you want. We have quite a good art and graphics thing going there, quite a lively sub-forum there. We do other things as well. Like I said, we have a Pokemon Showdown tournament going on, so do sign up to that if you feel like having some Pokemon battles. It's a bit of fun. And yeah, we also have other things like Neopets, Flight Rising, Sabata, MapleStory. If you happen to play any of those games, we have lots and lots of interesting things going on there as well. So yeah, again, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time in part 3.